Happy summer. Just to recap the week of July 11th through July 17th, this will be my week 5 of training for the nationwide um, marathon in Columbus, Ohio, hopefully in October. So last week I had a 12-mile long run, and it was probably one of the more humid weeks throughout the week. Very little rain. It didn't break very well for us. So my runs were very tragic. I'd say I wasn't making more than a 9-minute mile on any given mile simply because of just how hot it was. So with that said, I'm hoping like I can get it better. I remember that last year where it was hard to keep it under a 10-minute mile overall, simply because of how hot it was. And remember too that this is where I got in trouble when it started to cool off in September. I started to run faster because hey, it's cooler out. My body can do more, but my muscles weren't quite ready for that pace, and I injured myself. So I'm keeping that in mind as I go along here, and just wanted to put that out there that again and remind myself, okay, if this is what I can do when it's this humid out, it's not going to be a big difference, and I shouldn't expect myself to do much different later. So I was able to get most of my runs in all in the morning. I remember on Sunday, I did get up a little bit later, 7:30. I was able to get it in, and it was starting to really heat up there. My 12-mile run on Sunday was a little bit different. Oh, I do have to say, with the cross training and whatnot, I did get more weights in and whatnot. Yoga actually felt really good. I don't know what video I picked on YouTube that was so great, but I'm definitely noting that one. It was just great. Again, that was after my 11-mile run, and it worked out well. This week after my 12-mile run, whatever I did, I was just not, and it wasn't as stretchy as I liked it to be. Oh yeah, it was the Body Rock Yoga Flow 3 that I did last week. It was great. I'd recommend that after long runs. In the meantime, what happened this week, I did order some new shoes on Amazon Prime, but I didn't put the inserts in them, and I got too happy. Didn't put my Dr. Scholl's in them, and did my 6-mile on Saturday and my 12-mile on Sunday, and then without my inserts. I will go over this in detail, how I kind of start circulating my shoes in the longer week runs, which is happening not next week, but soon after. And hopefully I'll have my inserts in there. Anyway, I've never had any foot pain. Oh, I did after this one. Because I've always had an insert in them. So I like new shoe, new inserts. So there's no confusion. They're both wearing the same. But I got a little too excited and kind of hurt myself on that one. So the 12-mile run was really pathetic, all given. Um, I did have a fine time with my water. I made sure I had 12 ounces of water on me the whole way through. I do feel though, just the way it panned out, I woke up a little bit later. The dogs wanted out. I was taking care of this and that, and before I could actually get out the door and get my run in, um, I couldn't start as early as I wanted to be. So, as I'm running, it's getting hotter and hotter. I wasn't. I didn't have to stop. That was the interesting thing. I didn't have to stop on this run, which kind of concerned me because I didn't feel like I relieved myself well enough before the run um, to do that. So that's an interesting thing to note because I don't remember there not being a long run that was under 10 miles that I didn't have to stop for, especially on this trail. So um, I'll look out for that. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I can keep that up and not have to worry about that from now on. In the meantime, throughout the run, and my feet starting to hurt, and the water issue, I was really maintaining the water, 1 ounce per mile. Yeah, and that seemed to do me well, but I think I kind of was starting to hit some sort of a wall there. I did have some bread with peanut butter on it, some toast with peanut butter. I had two of those before. I left the house about an hour before I left the house, and that did not hold me. This week, what I did notice too, looking back and analyzing, and now we're going to get on to the fun stuff where I basically start putting my um, diet into Excel sheets and trying to figure out when to have this. Last week, if you look, yeah, I was pretty even keeled on most of what I ate. Which what I usually would do is I'd kind of overeat. Um, Started pack the calories. Usually 48 hours. So usually Friday is usually a pack on day. I'm not really expending a lot of calories. It's more of a rest day. Um, so it, so I kind of see where I didn't prepare myself when I was looking at my foods and stuff like that. Plus, it was just a longer. I'm getting into the higher mid-mile weeks too. I think I'm burning more than I was. I dropped 5 pounds this week, probably just in water. So I'll have to look into that. I'm not too concerned. I think my body will start to compensate for that. Not this next week, but the week after, I do have my 14-mile runs, and so now I kind of am starting to get a feel of how my body's working um, with this type of tempo and schedule throughout the week. So more to come on that. I'm hoping to kind of outline what I'm going to eat for that 14-mile week, and how and where the calories are going to come from. So you'll see my kitchen instead of a ping pong table and old college textbooks behind me. So that'll be a fun one there. Um, in the meantime, just to recap on the lube situation, I did buy a little small thing of chapstick Vaseline, and I also brought the KY jelly. Lubed up with the KY beforehand, and then I did have to reapply just a little bit of the Vaseline about mile 8. Just to be sure, I was at a stop, kind of a standstill stop, and I took the time to just reapply. No issues. It was great on that end, at least. My feet still kind of really did not like me. Um, so it's all feeling very, very good so far. So now I'm feeling I'm I'm feeling it. I'm ready to get in, and I'm a little bit more anxious about this one. Like, gosh, I don't even know if I'm gonna make a better time than I did on my first time around. Like, and what's the point of even running this? Um, I'm kind of having the doubts, and I can see where people are all gung ho. I was gung ho enough to start a YouTube channel on it, but um, I'm glad I'm talking about it and kind of getting this out here. Where is this really worth it? And I think it is. I'm still gonna go out and run, so I might as well go out and try to, you know, meet a goal or something. If I can just get it under 4 hours, I'll be a happy woman, very happy woman. I was over 4 hours by 9 minutes, almost 10 last time with a bum knee. I think I can knock it out. I don't think I'll be Boston material just yet, but given what I've got on my plate, hey, that's pretty good to walk in and say that I have that. I'm definitely um, at the upper echelon of that. We'll work on eliteness later on. Um, Speaking of which, that's kind of, I was actually looking today to see what the schedule is for the Olympics, and I remember watching that last time around the 4 year mark. I watched the entire marathon. I can't even remember why I wasn't working or anything like that. I was watching the entire women's marathon, and I can't even remember her name, but she was from Romania, but she was living in Colorado, which honestly I have to say you shouldn't be able to run for your country when you're basically a citizen of the United States. Neither here nor there. When you're over 40 and you are literally you're winning the Olympic marathon. That's to say something there like, oh, I have a future in this sport if I wanted to take it that far. So let's hopefully, just the grandeur of it just sounds awesome. So if they can do it, I can probably train for this and be okay. I just got to get that body niggles. I'm starting to feel a little bit, and I'm starting to track what they are before they blow up. I think of like this week is the difference between what's to come. I have only 9 miles this week, but in the next 2 weeks is the difference between half marathon training and marathon training. You get into the longer miles, and it's a whole different ball game. You're going to find out more about yourself training for a marathon than you ever will, especially um, like a half marathon is more, anything else is more of a mental game that I'm about ready to head into. But as long as I'm tracking everything else as far as my diet, um, the equipment that I have there, my water, uh, and making sure I'm scheduling in the right things, I think I'll be okay on that end. Now I'm just adding another wrench into the mix. It's not, am I going to, finish a whole marathon of, now I'm kind of time based, which I'm a little bit more, there's again less literature on it. There's more literature for more elitist type running than anything else, and beginner. But again, this is why I'm doing this more middle road runner, but not quite beginner, not quite great experienced intermediate, almost pro level. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I learn a little bit more from this one. And next week we have the 9 miles. Like I said before, I think this is my last kickback before the next couple of weeks. I do go up to a 14 the week after, and then a lovely 15, and then I drop down. So we're doing the two up, one down type of scheduling here, which I think I like. But again, I did get injured the last time I did something like this, so hopefully it's not going to be too bad. And I do kind of sit at a lower mileage. There's higher drop downs like the 20 and then 14 later on down the line, so I'm okay with that. For the most part, what I'm a little bit more concerned about is every single higher mileage week, um, where I'm really hitting like the 16 and the 20s. It's back to school shopping weekend, and then I have back to school the next week. So I'm trying to get two kids ready to go and out the door for that one. And then I'm pretty sure in September, hopefully, when things calm down with school and everything else, is when I actually taper down. So I don't know why I think that this would be a good running schedule, but maybe if I were to have done the right Pat one, I wouldn't be in such a pickle. But who wants to do all these higher miles? Who wants to do 20 miles when it's going to be 90 degrees? You're going to hit the heat at some point unless you start running at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I'm not willing to do. I'm a little afraid. I think it's almost illegal to do on some of the trails out here. So, that's what I have. And next week, I'm hoping to sit at my kitchen counter and just basically outline, here's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the days of the week. I do notice that I'm only going up to about 7 miles on my midweek runs there. Yeah, because it's 14. But I am kicking up the other ones to other runs from like a 3 to a 4. Is that a pace run? No, they're not pace runs. So it's just kind of getting me up there just to kind of get a feel of where I think I'm going to need my more calorie packing in there. I love watching YouTube videos on people prepping their food. I was starting to prep my food for about years ago for a good 6 months before I realized, actually Googled somebody prepping their food and got addicted to it. So I love the aspect of it where you could just get it done once a week. It's done. You don't have to think about it until it rolls around again and you have to prep it all again. My husband seems to hate that. I think he likes the spontaneity of, a meal here and there. So if he has the same thing so many times in a row or so many times throughout a given period, it's so hard. It's kind of hard. Whereas I would rather have it more. I think I um, enjoy it more if it's not there so sporadically. So I, treat and whatnot coming around are a lot better to have. In the meantime, I did get my hair cut. I wanted to wait a little bit longer, but I finally got my head shaved a little bit more just to get some of the weight off of it. I did have to get that cut down, but I figured I'd wait a little bit longer, but then it was just bothering me to no avail. So hopefully this can last. I'm pretty sure I'll be in again in less than 4 weeks just to get it done again and off of my neck on the longer runs there because you just can't have that going. And my hair doesn't grow fast enough to, put it up anymore. So I just kind of shaved the back there too to kind of get more ventilation going. And it's awesome. I recommend this haircut. I'm probably going to be sporting this haircut for like 20 years while it's way out of style, but you know, if it keeps my head cool in the summer, I'll do it. Um, that's about all I have this week. So you'll probably see me again next week. It's a short run. I'm hoping that I don't have anything significant to tell you next week because that would be sad running wise. But in weeks to come, you'll probably see me having to gripe about something a lot more scary. Have fun.